I thought I'd stop drinking early, what the heck? This comes from, this whole talk comes from the Pocket Book of Buddha, the Reader. In the Himalayas, there is a land that is rough and hard to cross, where neither monkeys nor humans can live. And there are other lands where monkeys can live, but not humans. As well, there are delightful valleys where both monkeys and humans can live. In these valleys, hunters set traps of sticky pitch among the monkeys' trees to catch them. The monkey who is free from curiosity and greed, when he sees the pitch trap, he stays away from it. But a foolish and greedy monkey will come up to the pitch and handle it with his paw. His paw will stick. Trying to get free, he takes his other hand and puts it and gets stuck again. So then he tries to put a foot on and the foot gets stuck. And then the other foot gets stuck. And he uses the last thing he's got, his mouth, to get free. He's stuck. He's stuck. He can't move. Anybody relate to this position in life? And then he starts to do what we all do. Oh, how did I get here? How did I do this to myself again? And then the hunter comes and finishes him off. This is our story. It is the same with everyone who wanders in wrong places. What are wrong places? Attaching oneself to the delights of the five senses and being trapped and enslaved by that delight. That is the wrong place. That enslavement is beyond the needs and range of a life. You should roam in places that are your own, that arise in accordance with your own true nature. And what is that place that is your own nature? It's the pasture of ardent clearness and mindfulness, where discontent and greed are put aside for the sake of the world. That is your own place, your natural range. Beware of where you roam in consciousness, because what you tune in and turn on and tap into, you will become. Our mind works just like that. It's sticky business being here in the body. We have a part of us that reaches out with our minds that's just as real as what happens with our physical hands. When we want something, we reach out for it. And the very thing that we want, we think is missing in us. And so finally one day I'm going to get it. And so we reach out for that thing that we think that will bring us happiness. And instead it just makes us stuck and entrapped and enslaved. And everyone can hear our howling. Whoop, he must be doing it again. There she is again. There he goes again. Stuck in a level of appearances. We're always working with our minds, which produce after its kind. Jesus always pointed us back to this tendency of the mind to constantly want something. When he said it in the Bible, he said, resist, it's been said of old, resist not evil. But I tell you, if someone hits you on the left cheek, turn to him also the right. Is Jesus talking about getting beat up here? No. He's talking about your mind. The mind. That's what we work with. We lift our vibrational frequency up, and no matter what happens to us outwardly, we make a choice inwardly with how we're going to respond to it. And it's been said of old, thou shalt not commit adultery. I tell you that if you even look upon a woman with lust, you've already cheated on yourself. I love the word to adulterate. Adulterate means to water down, to liquefy, to add something to something that's already pure and perfect and holy. We all commit spiritual adultery every time we give our power away to attachments and appearances. Anybody relate to what I'm talking about? We all do this. But here's the rub and the good part. The same mind that sticks itself to illusions can be the same mind that can bind us to the truth that can set us free. Do you hear that? Through prayer and meditation and mindfulness practice and focusing the single eye, when your eye be single, your body will be filled with light. That same mind with focused attention can set you free. But it will take practice. Practice, yes. And not beating yourself up when you don't. But from this moment on, choosing once again to be aware of the positions of mind that you are stuck in, that keep you coming back and going down the same street, the same path, over and over and over again. When you bring awareness to that, everything changes. You increase the distance between what we talked about last week when there's a sensation. I feel this sensation. Most people go right to manifestation. I want, I get. You said this, I said that. There's a huge space between that where you can become aware of the sensation, not react to it, and then make a choice about which thoughts you want to stick to and which ones you don't. That's the power of choice that we always have. There's a vibrational thought frequency that goes around this planet, and it's everywhere. Thoughts are not individually rooted, they're universally rooted. Do you hear me now? There's a thought atmosphere going through this room now. There's cell phone signals going on to everybody's phone. People are calling you, but guess what? Your receiver's not open, so you're not receiving it, right? There's all kinds of radio waves coming through the air right now, but you're not aware of it because you're not tuned into it. When you tune into it and you turn it on, then you vibrate with it. Charles Fillmore said there's a vibrational frequency of all thoughts on this planet. And when you are in a place of vibrating at a certain frequency, you find things to match that vibrational frequency all the time. So when we get stuck to appearances and delusional states of mind, we join with all the other monkeys in the zoo who are stuck in the same place. This is not bad news, because there is another vibrational frequency, a morphogenic field of consciousness that we can plug into that's much higher than the things we get stuck in. Again, the same mind that sticks you to illusion can be used to bind you to truth. But if you want to get good at the piano, you've got to keep playing, right? You want to get to be a good singer, you've got to keep practicing, practicing, practicing. And bring that natural quality out in you. That's how you do it. I have a master's degree in getting stuck in delusional states of consciousness. You all know when you hear these stories added from mine. This one was my 40-year story of my family's inheritance that I thought I was getting. For 40 years, I was practicing spiritual principle, but what I believed was I was going to get a lot of money from my family's inheritance. And I was stuck to that position. And what happened was, at 40 years old, it didn't happen. Everything went to somebody else. And I howled. Oh, for 2 years from pulpits, people listened to me howling about what I didn't get. Every Rolex watch, a symbol of what was missing in my life. It went on for 2 years. I needed that time to have a good howl. You need to be able to be okay with that. To look at that and be able to howl through it. And then the howling over time with spiritual practice and attention and focus, the howling became a good cry once a week. And then it morphed into a good cry once a month. And then before you know it, I was done crying. I got unstuck from the position, and now I was into, every so often, a few tears and a lot of forgiveness. And now I get to the point where it's not even an issue anymore. I tell that story, and it's not even there. I'm not stuck to it anymore. The erroneous assumption that my good could have ever come from one source. I'm totally not stuck in that place anymore. It is just a story that I no longer need to tell. The mind has gotten free and unstuck from that position. Do you feel that? And you work with this over time. Gradually you begin to unstick your mind from looking at your neighbor's yard for what you think is missing in your own. We all do this. He sings better than me. She looks better than me. They speak better than me. They're happier than I am. I can tell. Oh, they're exercising spiritual principle better than I am. We all do this. We all think our good comes from some other place. We all think everybody else has got a better story going on in their mind than we do. They don't. They're just like you. I know them, and they are just like you. One of my favorite positions to be stuck in that we all know about well is somewhere else is better than here. That's called unity of somewhere else. More better than here. You know, and Maureen just came back from Hawaii. And we used to live in Hawaii. How many years did we live in paradise?
7.
7 years. She had this juicy job. Biggest paycheck we ever had. She had that job. I moved us out of Hawaii. And every time I think about it, it's why did we leave paradise? Because it looked like I should go back to Unity of Seattle and build the ministry back up to where it was 20 years ago when I had 1 million people cheering my name. I want to go. I want to leave paradise. And so I went to More is Better. More is better. I got back to more. And what was better was interesting. What was better was Center for Spiritual Living. And a woman named Kathy Ann Lewis, who had been there for 20 years and built up this mega new thought center that was just outrageously wonderful and awesome and terrific and filled with energy. It was just like, wow, wow, that's the place to go and be. But I was going to get my people back. So I had a couple of Sundays where people who were disenchanted with Kathy, and there's always someone disenchanted with the current regime. The people who are not here are disenchanted with me. They all came back for a couple of Sundays. It looked like the place was going to pack out, but then they went back to the better show. Why not? They went back. They went back one Sunday. We sent Maureen out as a spy at their first service to see what they were doing. So Maureen went to their first service, and when she came back, she had a puzzled look on herself. She said, I got to tell you, Richard, the talk was out of the same Buddhist book we're talking out of. The musicians were the ones that were our church last week. The message was right in line with what you said. She's a great speaker, she's very dynamic, and she shares a personal story. And I went, oh, woe is me. There I was again, trying to bring something into my life that wasn't already present in my own. I was spiritually adulterating my relationship to the Lord God of my being in that moment by giving my power away to appearances, thinking I needed to bring other people in from somewhere else. That is a delusional state of mind, and it is a lie. And she was really, really a great marketer. Of course, a church of almost 1,000 people. We would take things that we would do in that. It was really funny. We'd go, okay, so let's have a Wednesday night program. We didn't have it at that point. And let's have a meal, and we'll have dikshas, and we'll do chanting, and I'll do a message. And 80 people started to come to that. It was really great. But then she started the next week her own program where they served better food, and coffee, and Danish, and smoothies. It was better than ours. We kept watching that, seeing that over and over again. It's like, wow, it's better, it's better. And finally I got to the point, I need to get unstuck from how I'm choosing to see this thing. That's the problem. The problem's not with the condition of the circumstance. It's with me being stuck to thinking that my good comes from somewhere else in my neighbor's yard. And so one Sunday, I decided I want to get unstuck from this position. So I got up in front of the congregation, the people who were there, and I just, you know, as I always do, explained about me, ad infinitum, bored to death. And I said, I'd have to tell you I'm ready to be done with this. This is sparkling cider, by the way. I want to pour a toast to Reverend Kathy Ann Lewis, the second best speaker in all of Seattle. I raise my glass high to you. My good does not come from your congregation. I have enough problems dealing with my own inner congregation of thoughts and feelings. I wish you success. I wish you the best. There's plenty for everyone. My good comes from God. Here's to Kathy Ann Lewis. You have someone you can toast, right? And people screamed and yelled and jumped up and down. And my church didn't get any bigger. But my mind did. I did. Do you feel that? I expanded. No longer stuck in a position, telling the universe I can only have it this way or no other way. You open up, your mind gets bigger. Our mind thinks, they say neurobiologically, 70,000 thoughts a day. 70,000 thoughts a day. And if you meditate, 69,000 of those thoughts come up in the first 3 minutes. Drive you insane. Which thoughts do I want to identify with? Which ones support my goal of awakening and my vision for my life? Which ones don't? I don't want to get stuck to that. Well, just be aware of it. There'll be 10 other thoughts following it. You don't have to believe everything you think. What a great gift that is. You can change your vibrational frequency at any one moment by changing your thoughts. This is not new for people who come here, but it's a powerful relief to know that you always have a point of choosing once again, over and over and over again. That's never ever going to be taken away from you. That's the one thing you have left on this plane, the Course in Miracles says, the power to choose once again. And choose once again, again, and again, and again. That's why a mantra is so important. Carl's going to be singing mantras to us, to have an affirmation, as we say in Unity, that when you find yourself getting stuck in a position, you begin to repeat the mantra to yourself, because you're going to think thoughts anyway, 70,000 a day, what the heck. Even Yogananda, even Paramahansa Yogananda had to keep affirming, God, God, God. In the middle of quiet, busy, God, God, God. God, God, God. God, God, God. When you say, in a moment of stickiness, God is love. I am love. Say that with me. God is love. I am love. God is peace. I am peace. Say it with me. God is peace. I am peace. God is existence, consciousness, and bliss. I am existence, consciousness, and bliss. You know, do you feel the frequency shift when you do that? That's the affirmation. That's what lifts you to a higher vibrational frequency so you can discover the beauty already present within you, right here and right now. And you don't have to go anywhere to experience that. And we all have a moment of choice. Do you remember in the Harry Potter movies where Harry puts on the sorting hat? Do you remember that? To decide which house he's going to go to? Gryffindor or Slytherin? And by the way, we all are choosing every day which house of consciousness we want to go to, Gryffindor or Slytherin. And the hat is on top of Harry's head, as the hat is always on top of your head. And it's saying, this one's having a difficult time choosing which house to go in, yes? And Harry had to be very powerful in his choice. I want Gryffindor. I want to wake up. I want the light. And so he went towards the light. But when he ended up having his battle with Voldemort, as you will, the dark side comes up and says, you're just like me, Harry. You speak Sparseltongue. You've got the snake all over you. You're no different than me. And how that voice speaks to you some mornings? Ooh. Listen to you screaming and yelling and acting just like that person. You've got that in you. We all do. You don't deny that that's there. There it is. And so he says to Dumbledore, after the battle where he wins for a moment, and you only win for a moment. He says, maybe the sorting hat made a mistake. He said, maybe I was really supposed to end up in Slytherin. And Harry Potter gets an answer from the great Avatar, Master Dumbledore, who says this, Howdy, Potter. Howdy, Potter. Howdy, Potter. We are not defined by our talents and abilities, but by the choices we continually make each day. You hear that? You choose the vibrational frequency. We're not defined by our talents and abilities, but by the choices we consistently choose to make every single day. So when you work with yourself this week, you take yourself into the choice you can make today, from this moment forward. Don't beat yourself up for anything that's happened yesterday. You have got this day, this one day. Yes? Right here and right now. I'll stop spitting at you. Let's put the lesson summation up. I'll be done with my pocketbook of Buddhist teachings. You become what you tune in, turn on, and tap into. High moral ground is one of the pillars of the great wisdom traditions. That's all. Just exercise that. When we focus our attention through meditation, prayer, and mindfulness practices, the same mind that sticks to illusions can be used to bind us to truth. I love when that came out. 3, to adulterate means to pollute, to add something that cheapens the quality or upsets the completeness of what we already are as spiritual beings. Number 4. It's not about beating yourself up for wrong choices you've made in the past, but choosing to be mindful of the choices you make from this moment forward. We are not defined by our talents and abilities, but by the choices we make each day. So I know that this week, something's going to stick to you. Before your lips touch and you're stuck in 5 different ways. That's when you start chanting, God, 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 Rama, Rama, Rama. That's what Gandhi did. When the man came up and shot him, he called him God. He wasn't captured. He was set free in that moment. God, 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 Rama, Rama, Rama. God is peace. I am peace. God is love. I am love. God is existence, consciousness, and bliss. You begin to enter back into your power. In this moment, you make that choice. And then you get to pour a glass of these teachings for other people and pass on the good cheer that knows no boundaries. We are not limited by form or time. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual law. Allow yourself to use your mind to stick to that illusion, and you'll find yourself in terrible pain. Allow yourself to bind yourself to truth, and you'll be able to share a big glass of awakening with your favorite partner right in front of you. Practice well, not just for yourself, but for the benefit of all beings everywhere. L'chaim, good cheer.